Grums on X, who says, no, this is exactly the way and the only way left. After years of bloated AAA hiring and not listening to gamers, insulting them instead, this is the end result. There is no other way. AAA made their bed. I hate to see it, but leaner AA teams are running circles around you. Get rid of the bloat. Give gamers what they want. Run lean. And this is in response to PC Gamer, who said, there has been a better way than this. Game developers call Microsoft's latest layoffs a colossal waste of talent from a publisher that seems like it's on a death spiral. Now, this is a company that does not care about talent. They do not care about retaining the best people. They care about pushing a message and making sure the people they hire ideologically align with their message to push forward. And the, oh, you can actually develop a game has always come second as far as probably, I would say going back so far as maybe even pre-pandemic. But it really ramped up around the pandemic, and it's been on a death spiral since then for Microsoft. And the Xbox brand is in serious jeopardy of being completely demolished. And we have some other stories here to cover as well. Who's at the head of demolishing the brand? This comes to us from Banderhub. So shout out to Banderhub, who shared this with me. They said, this is the state of Xbox under Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer is the worst leader in gaming history. And he goes on, Phil Spencer has closed 6 studios, canceled. And by the way, closing a studio doesn't necessarily make you a bad leader. Closing 2 studios doesn't necessarily make you a bad leader. Closing 6 studios, you got to have some questions being like, bro, maybe the studios aren't the issue at this point. Canceled multiple games, the latest biggest one being the Perfect Dark game that was already shown off and promised to have a ton of work put into it. Canceled outright and fired 6,750 gaming division employees in his tenure as CEO of Xbox. Now, in a certain light, just to give both sides of the story, firing people in massive droves to get rid of the bloat isn't necessarily a bad thing. You could look at that and be like, oh yeah, this guy's cleaning house, getting rid of the bloat. The problem is, after all these mass casualties at the studios, the bloat, the ideology pushing, and the activism is still extremely prevalent, which tells me that they're not firing the bloat. They're firing people to save money and keeping the people that push the message and ideology that they want, which tells me personally that they don't want to make great games. And at the end of the day, that is why they are failing. Canceled games, they got Scalebound, which is probably the biggest one. And you could even argue Scalebound, the cancellation of Scalebound was the foreshadowing for the downturn and ultimate demise of the Xbox brand. Fable, Perfect Dark, Everwild, ZeniMax MMORPG, Project Blackbird, Dishonored 3, Ghostwire Tokyo 2, Hi-Fi Rush 2, Black Tusk Studio Game, Halo Battle Royale. Key personnel lost, losing 8 major players at Xbox Game Studios, all under the watch of one Phil Spencer. So you can get mad as much as you want at Sarah Bond for being a complete nincompoop when it comes to decision making, but at the end of the day, she only shares part of the DEI pushing blame, because we also have Phil Spencer, who is making these tough, quote unquote, tough decisions, and at the end of the day, it is ruining the studio. And finally, coming on over to Insider Gaming, Phil Spencer's memo to staff about upcoming Microsoft and Xbox layoffs. Insider Gaming has been provided an internal memo from Xbox CEO Phil Spencer on the upcoming layoffs, which he's, at the end of the day, Phil Spencer has got to be used to making these emails. Like, this is probably old hat for him. Today, we are sharing decisions that will impact colleagues across our organization to position gaming for enduring success, which press X to doubt, and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas like what? DEI and agenda pushing. We will end or decrease work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. Out of respect for those impacted today, the specifics of today's notifications and any organizational shifts will be shared by your team leaders in the coming days. So, zero transparency, keeping everything a secret, and people on these teams still not knowing at this point if they even have a job or not. Many of them might find out after the 4th of July. Imagine working at this company, putting your blood, sweat, and tears into a game, being based as fuck and being extremely talented. And then because of the bozo DEI pushing agenda activists, you are now in jeopardy of losing your career. That's why I take this so personally. I get very frustrated because we're losing grip of reality of the direction the game industry should be going, of keeping these games on track, on path for making the best games for people to purchase them. And instead of doing that, Microsoft is focusing all their energy on just get it out the door. Let's throw it on, slap it on Game Pass and pump those numbers up and get the next slop out there as fast as we can to throw that on Game Pass as well. And just keep pumping these games onto Game Pass over and over and over again. And then there'll just be so many games on Game Pass that people will just have to buy Game Pass. And then they'll bend the knee when we start raising the price on Game Pass. Gamers are cheap as fuck. They will not do that. I don't know how many times you have to tell them this, but this is not the direction the game industry is going to go. As much as they want to make it all digital and take away your power of owning physical and being able to tangibly approach these assets with your own money and own them and do what you want with them, they think it's going all digital. And while it might be doing that, they will lose an extreme amount of money along the way, to the point of rethinking their approach, because they want to be the Netflix of games, but they're turning out to be the Blockbuster Video. Anyways, he continues. I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. So this right here is him roundabout telling people that he is the problem. He's like, everything is going great out there, but we're firing everyone. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap have never looked stronger. But here's your pink slip. The success we're seeing currently is based on tough decisions we've made previously. Bullshit. It's easy to hire people. That's not a tough decision. To buy studios, that's easy to do. You give me infinite money with Microsoft, I could buy every studio out there. That is not a tough decision. This right here is we bit off more than we can chew. We can't eat all of this at once, and we need to spit some of it out. And people who were doing just fine at the companies they were at before we purchased them are now the ones that are at risk of losing their careers because our greed was put in front of their talent. We must make choices now for continued success in future years, and a key part of that strategy is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. This is bullshit. Again, if we're going to believe this, Microsoft is the most powerful and valuable organization in the entire world on planet Earth. They have enough money to pay salaries for every single person that they're firing for hundreds, if not thousands of years moving forward. So no, they don't have to make these cuts to make sure business works and operates. No. They're doing this for the shareholders and then pissing on you and telling you it's raining. We will protect what is thriving and concentrate efforts on areas with the greatest potential. while delivering on the expectations the company has for our business. This focused approach means we can deliver exceptional games and experiences for players for generations to come. If that was the case, why can't you deliver Scalebound? Why can't you deliver Perfect Dark? If it's all about tough decisions and you make these ideas known and you show people gameplay and people get excited for it, why can't you make it come to fruition? Unless you're hiring the wrong people that have no idea what they're doing when they're developing a game, this should not be a problem. Exactly. Hypnotic and Rapture couldn't have said it better. Hypnotic and Rapture says, thriving. Most of these games are dumpster fires. Of course, they're not going to ever admit that, but yes. Prioritizing our opportunities is essential, but that does not lessen the significance of the moment. Simply put, we would not be where we are today without the time, energy, and creativity of those whose roles are impacted. Thanks for all you did. Bye now. Bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Thank you for everything, but we don't need you ever again. These decisions are not a reflection of the talent, creativity, and dedication of the people involved. Our momentum is not accidental, M dash. It is the result of years of dedicated effort from our teams that now no longer exist because you're cutting them, laying them off, and canceling projects. HR is working directly with impacted employees to provide severance plans, benefits aligned with local laws, including pay, healthcare coverage, and job placement resources to support their transition. Employees whose roles were eliminated are encouraged to explore open positions across Microsoft Gaming, where their applications will be given priority review. But don't get, it should say, by the way, because hope is not a strategy, do not get your hopes up, because if a company is having mass layoffs, it's very unlikely that they will hire you on in a different department when the entire organizational structure is doing massive layoffs across the board. In my humble opinion, I know armchair quarterback all day with this. Phil Spencer needs to be fired disgracefully. Sarah Bond needs to be fired disgracefully. Like, make it out there to be known. They need to cut these people from the company, say they didn't have what it takes. It wasn't working out. The direction that Xbox was going is not one that aligns with the vision of gamers. And we need to bring someone in here that does align with our customers, because the way it was going was destroying us. And honestly, I know it's a very safe thing to say that right now, but it's also the obvious elephant in the room. These people suck at what they're doing. They are terrible. And they're getting paid more money than God to treat people like absolute slop and boot them from their careers because they themselves don't have their own organization together. And that's really all I have to say about that. I could keep going, but no, I am over it with the direction of Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond. These people are ruining a once beloved brand that I grew up with. A lot of people grew up with. At Microsoft Xbox, the original Xbox with Halo and Halo 2, among many other incredible games on the original Xbox. And now it's gone down the tubes to what even is it now? What even is it? We're getting half-assed experiences that are coming out that are not even as good as the games that used to come out back in the day. Because again, they're rushing them out to get them on Game Pass instead of taking the time and making them special experiences for people's hard-earned money that they want to spend in exchange for a great experience. But anyways, I'll leave that there.